Welcome to Dark World Conversations. I'm your host, RJ Kelsay, and with me is my beautiful wife, Angie.
Hello. This episode is called Corporate Dystopia.
Imagine a world where a corporation has basically taken over all corporations. They experiment with humans. They create nasty things. They don't care about the planet they live on as long as they make some money. And no, I'm not talking about the United States of America, but it could happen. No, what I'm talking about is the video game called Final Fantasy VII, and I'm going to give you a little bit of warning. I've only watched the play-by-play. I have never played this game, so if I get some of the characters wrong, I'm sure my wife will laugh her head off at me and actually give you the right name.
Sure, I've played the game several times now.
So basically, Final Fantasy VII takes place on a planet called The Planet. I know, they're real original, I'm telling you. And on the middle of this planet is something called the life stream, which they injected into this woman who gave birth to a son called Sephiroth.
Okay, Sephiroth.
Sephiroth.
But we need to back up. The life stream flows through the planet like an energy source. Essentially, it is the souls of people and animals and everything cycles through the planet after death and then is reborn. That's the belief of the ancients. Now, what was injected into Sephiroth's mom, Lucretia, was Mako, which is refined life stream. So think of it like you have an oil refinery sucking up the life stream and refining it. So it's not like straight up life stream here.
So basically, Sephiroth. And once again, like I said, I have never played this game. I'm basically going off of less on YouTube. So there's this person named Cloud who's trying to fight the corporation, as I recall.
Yes, but that comes later. This is completely out of order at this point.
Once again, I've never played the game, so the order is kind of mix and match with me. If you want full detail of Final Fantasy VII, you could easily just go to rjkelsay.com and talk to my wife. She knows more about this thing than I am.
Okay, so here's the thing. So I've told you about the live stream and the refining and Tamako. So all of this is run by a single corporation, which is at this point the only corporation on the entire planet, Shinra. Now they started out, and technically are, because it says it right in their name, a power company. However, at this point they are so huge and have a monopoly on everything. They own the world. Any governors or mayors or whatever, they're basically just token stand-in puppets for Shinra.
So basically our politicians today.
Yes, Shinra runs the world. They do whatever they want. And we're not talking a company that is run by like shareholders. This is not a group running it. The President Shinra, by the way, is in charge. So he gets final approval over everything. They do whatever they want, literally. So they created super soldiers called Soldier.
I know, they're real original.
By injecting Mako into people to enhance them. If you're wondering, yes, on this world, magic is used. It is solidified Mako called materia. Continuing, like I said, Shinra does whatever they want. They have the Turks who are their enforcers, like their secret police. If someone needs to be silenced, the Turks do it. If Shinra wants to recruit somebody into the ranks, the Turks take care of it.
Are you sure the Turks aren't in charge?
Almost everybody works for Shinra as well. If you're employed, pretty much, unless you're running your own business and work at a shop or whatever, you work for Shinra.
I know, sounds like Amazon, doesn't it?
Let's see. So, like I said, the Turks are the enforcers. Then there's the science department, which is
also run by Shinra.
At the time of the game, run by Hojo, who is the he's like the typical mad scientist. He cares really about no one. The only thing he cares about is his own furthering his experiments. So basically, he also runs all the science for the soldier program. And Sephiroth is basically, he was scientifically experimented on this guy by this guy since before he was even born, while his mom was pregnant with him. And for him, they went further and didn't just inject him with Mako, but they were experimenting with Genova cells at the time. Now, in case you're wondering, no, Genova was not actually created by Shinra, just taken advantage of. Genova is an alien that had landed thousands of years previous and was sealed away by the ancients who called themselves the Shinra, and they're really no longer around when the game starts. There's one left, and that is Air. Of course, everything starts to fall apart around them, not that they're taking responsibility, because once Sephiroth finds out about all the experimentation that went into him, he kind of goes batshit crazy. And So eventually, after he comes back from the dead, he got thrown into the live stream, he starts pretty much mad at everybody trying to take out the entire world, including Shinra. It's almost like Shinra's trying to cover their tracks, so that's why they're kind of against our protagonist Cloud and his group Avalanche, who are out to save the planet. It's a fun game, but it's a whole hot mess, and it would probably take me the entire show to explain everything in intricate detail, but I've given RJ here enough to run with for what he wants to compare it to.
So you may ask yourself, what does this have to do with anything of today? Well, I'm going to talk to you about a little court case called Citizens United versus FEC, which was decided in 2010. Basically, what happened was a group of people who formed a coalition in the 2008 election wanted to create a movie called Hillary the Movie, which apparently would have disparaged a lot of Hillary Rodham Clinton, who was running for president at the time against a little known person named Barack Obama. So the Supreme Court, there was an FEC ruling called BCRA, can't recall the initials, but they said that, you couldn't run any ads disparaging anybody 30 days before a primary and 60 days before the general election.
Wish I still did that. That would really just save me so many headaches.
Yeah, if you want to know why you see so many commercials during the election, you could blame this on the Citizens United case. So they brought the case to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court in a 5-4 decision, because Ruth Bader Ginsburg was alive during that time, as well as Kennedy was still on the Supreme Court, but he sided with the conservatives at this time. Basically, they said that because a corporation is an association of people, then they are entitled to free speech, and since they said money is speech. Now, obviously, you could tell that I'm not exactly right on this case, because I disagree, because I think Star Trek The Next Generation Season 2 said it best when it described about sentient life. Sentient life has to be self-aware. They have to understand the environment they're in. They have to have consciousness. Now, a corporation, I don't know if you know this, but a corporation is basically a building that has lots of people in it.
Sometimes it's a building.
What?
You don't have to have a building to be a corporation.
Yeah, you don't have to have a building, but it's nice. And they have these shareholders, and the shareholders sometimes, they definitely vote one way, because, they don't care about the environment. They don't care about family values. They don't care about family leave. They care about money.
Well, yeah, because legally, corporations, they made this a legal requirement. Their goal has to be profit above all else.
Well, not all corporations have to be like that. I mean,
they literally said it. That's a requirement. It's legal. They have to put their shareholder first and profit first, which causes a problem with people, because even if somebody in the corporation wanted to go another way, to do, what they felt was right, they could get legally in trouble for it if it didn't put profit first.
Yes, and you may ask yourself, what are we, the Ferengi? Another group of people from Star Trek, the Deep Space Nine, and the Next Generation, who basically is the more ultra-capitalist than even our own Republican Party, our conservative party. I mean, they literally do put profit above anything. They put profit above family. They put profit against their own planet, basically. They charge people for walking upstairs or even taking an elevator. I mean, if there's a way they could suck money out of you, they'll do it. And, that's how...
Oh, don't forget, they would think The Handmaid's Tale was progressive.
Yeah, they would think The Handmaid's Tale was progressive, in case you haven't even watched that show or read that book. So basically, once again, we're going back to Citizens United. And like I said, a corporation is not really self-aware. I mean, the people are, but the corporation itself is not self-aware.
No, and when you rule this way that corporation is entitled to free speech because there's people in it, well, you're giving those people double rights, really.
Yes, basically, like I said, it's not self-aware. It's not recognizable of its environment. I mean, Amazon could be in Timbuktu and still would do the same business it would do. And it definitely doesn't have any consciousness. We already know this. Their only consciousness is make money, make our shareholders happy, and if that means buying off some politicians or even a Supreme Court justice or two, so be it.
By the way, they've already done all of these things.
Oh, yes.
It's too late to stop it because it's already happened.
And also, Citizens United is what brought about PACs and super PACs, which means that you could give money to a specific organization that supports the candidate. You're not supposed to give the money actually to the candidate. it, but I'm sure some people probably do that. So like I said, if you want to know why you get bombarded with leaflets, with mail, with email, with commercials, to the point where you just want, go to every single politician and want to strangle them, there's your answer. Citizens United versus the FEC basically opened the floodgate to you, our loyal viewers, being harassed by endless political propaganda. And so, once again, what does this have to do with Final Fantasy? Well, companies are buying companies all over the place, and then
buying each other, becoming one.
Yes.
Yeah, and in the end, if it goes unchecked, you're gonna end up with something like Shinra, who doesn't care, just steps all over everybody until the point where it comes where you've got people like Sephiroth who don't care, and they're like, okay, well, whatever, I'm gonna destroy the world.
Well, to be fair, corporations really don't care about people to begin with, so...
Exactly, which is why they should have no say in who, what happens to the people. They have no business being part of the government, because the government is to run the people.
Yes, and as I said before, they'll do anything they can to, make as much money as they can. They'll pollute the planet, and they have. Like I said, they'll buy off Supreme Court justices. They'll buy off House members, Senate members, maybe even the president, or a president might be a corporation. Give it time, I'm sure we'll have a Amazon be president before a woman, because even though a corporation is not born, they could easily say we were incorporated in the United States, and that means birth, and they'll take it to the Supreme Court and they'll say, here's some money, say that being incorporated means being born.
Especially the current Supreme Court, I could see them doing something like this, because they've done stuff already just in the past year that you would think, oh no, that wouldn't happen here, but
And the problem with that is, the Supreme Court is not elected. They're not elected people. Nobody elected them. We elected the representatives that appointed them, but through some shady shenanigans, like pulling up some Supreme Court justice nomination until after an election, and then ramrodding another Supreme Court justice 20 weeks before an election, or 20 days.
Don't forget this case. Didn't they tell the plaintiffs, Citizens United, to rewrite it so that the Supreme Court could apply this ruling to all corporations? Because Citizens United, they were only about it was specific to non-profit organizations.
Yes, and then profit organizations said, hey, can you apply this to every single corporation? And the Supreme Court, after taking their allowance from the corporations, that's why not. And like I said, corporation is not human. They're humans there, and if they want to vote, more power to them.
The humans, individuals in the corporations have their rights and should have their Second Amendment rights. Of course they should. The corporation itself as a separate entity should not.
Exactly, and also there has been evidence that some corporations have pressured their employees with threats to vote a certain way or think a certain way, and that should definitely be unconstitutional in my opinion.
That's a red flag.
And also, because
isn't that a crime?
You don't think that, would you?
No, isn't that an actual crime? What the heck is the name for it?
Well, while we're looking that up, and if you know the answer, like I said, give us a ring at rjkelsay.com or darkworldconversations.com.
Message us or leave us a comment. Oh, and speaking of that, we have the little prelude to RJ's book on there now, and we're putting book update on there, and
right now I am actually writing a short story based on the universe of Say Prelude to said book that I have planned to have published in September. So like I said, if you want to drop a line...
Coercing! That's it. Coercion.
Oh yeah. And like I said, while nobody has actually gone up and said anything like that, some people have actually said, yes, this has actually happened. And also, many corporations have, threatened unions.
Yes, yeah, I know. I've seen that. I heard about that.
The ability for people to, what's that word again? It's on the tip of my tongue, associate, follow their First Amendment rights. The same thing that the Supreme Court said that, a corporation is a person because a bunch of people could associate. A bunch of people associate to create that corporation. Well, the corporations are preventing people people to associate to get better pay, health benefits, the ability to drink water every 10 minutes because you live in a state that's right now 105 degrees.
Didn't the Supreme Court just effectively dismantle union in a roundabout way?
Well, they basically said that if a union goes on strike and things are left unattended, then the corporation could sue those people.
Yeah, sue the individuals for harm
to their product, which at this point was a cement mixer, or the cement that was in the mixer. Like I said, they're trying to prevent people from associating to get all these things that, especially the 10-minute water break. And actually, that was not a corporation. That was the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, who signed that law. That said that, you cities, you could pass your own laws, but we don't have to enforce them. And one of those was actually a 10-minute water break in a city that has had 105-degree temperatures where people are literally dying from dehydration. And why did Greg Abbott sign something like that? I'm sure Texaco probably has something to do with it, or another corporation.
Why would they want to? How many families could sue them for wrongful death?
None, because funny thing, you really can't sue if the law says it.
Okay, then they can sue the government for wrongful death?
They could.
Or they can uprise against the government. I mean, if if I can't make you pay by suing and you've taken my family member from you, you can bet I'm gonna find a way to make it happen.
Well, yeah, I mean, they could uprise against the government, but as far as suing the government, it's a toss-up on that one, because
I find why are they making so many things to harm people that's just gonna backfire on them?
Money. Any other questions?
Stupidity.
Money. That's money.
It's gonna lose the money in the end.
Well, you know what they say, money is the root of all evil, and we have definitely seen that happen. I mean, we basically saw how money and cutting corners caused a total disaster in the open sea.
Yeah, but that's your obsession, so I'll let you talk about that.
Okay, everybody knows about the Titan sub, and that's not really privy to our discussion. If you want to know more about the Titan sub, I'd be more than happy to talk about it, and how, the minute I saw that thing, I would have gone, hell no, I'm not getting on that sucker. And yes, I'm obsessed with the Titanic. I'm not that obsessed. If I want to go on a sub, I'm going to go on a submersible that, is approved. Looks like it could actually survive those kind of deaths. But once again, it was a corporation that cut corners. From what I actually heard, 15-year-olds were building the damn thing.
No, it just said teenagers that were paid $15 an hour.
Okay.
And I just briefly read the headline. I didn't go into the detail because it just seems so weird to me.
Well, definitely what we could agree on is that they did cut corners to get this thing going, and
they with a game controller.
And they basically ignore a lot of safety precautions and safety protocols, and 5 people pay with their lives. And once again, the irony is not lost that a lot of safety precautions were taken off the ship they were going to see, and 1,500 plus people were lost that night. So basically, Citizens United, I don't agree with their decision. I mean, corporations are definitely not people. Money is not free speech, because I can speak. I can't speak with money, but I can speak.
Yeah, that's the problem. They're using that to speak over the people. The government is supposed to be for the people. Corporations have no business in it. If the people that are part of those corporations want to use their free speech and speak, that's totally different. They have every right to do that, and I encourage it. But as a corporation, a separate entity, not a person, they should have no right.
Okay, now when it comes to free
over person government.
When it comes to the people speaking, I agree that people have the right to speak, but they have a right to speak from their heart, their minds, not what their managers are telling them, not what the corporation is telling them.
Heck, not even what their own family is telling them. That's the point.
Yes.
That's why our votes are anonymous.
Yes, and like I said, it is we the people, and as long as we the people have this very tiny voice, and the corporations have this gigantic voice with unlimited amount of money, then we're gonna get drowned out.
So really what we have is a government by the corporations against the people.
Basically, but one corporation has actually jumped into the fray, you could say, and has gone against one part of the government of Florida, and they said yes, we're using our free speech, and they got in big trouble.
They didn't get in trouble.
Well,
They just got into a war with a moron.
They basically got into a war with the person who basically has been playing whose is bigger. Ron DeSantis, I can tell you this right now, Disney's is bigger.
Yeah.
They have more money, they have more resources, they have better lawyers, and they will take you down.
You know Disney is not doing that to, hey,
no.
We support you. They're doing it because it's going to affect their profit margins. That is really why.
Well, it's also affecting, Disney is one of those actual corporations that does care about their workers. And
exactly. If their workers aren't happy, it's going to affect their profit margins. I mean, they're not stupid. Other corporations might want to look at that. Keeping your workers happy or unhappy can affect your profit margins in either direction.
Or in the case of Texas, healthy or unhealthy.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, Texas temperatures jump up to 105, 110. But basically to the point...
I would melt.
What?
I would melt.
You would, and probably I would too. I mean... I could take a lot of heat, but even at the temperatures that I've heard of Texas, yeah, there's just no way. And I guess that's a good thing their power grid is still running.
Oh God, can you imagine that without air conditioner?
Okay, so that's all we have for today.
No, that reminds me of Christian. Oh, it's like a couple summers ago, our son went outside from the air-conditioned house to the outdoors, and he must have heard me one too many times, because the first thing he goes, "I'm melting!" It was so cute and funny.
As I said, that's all we have for today. Join us next week as we talk about Loki and basically time travel. I'm RJ Kelsay.
I'm Angie.
And remember that a corporation is not a person. Once you put a corporation above a person, you basically get rid of that person. You make the corporation higher than that person. And in the great words of the Constitution, it is we the people. Thank you.